Maple Leafs forever on the Fired Up Network.
All right. Well, we had another victory. And that, by the way, that was Billy the Greek with his new voiceover thing. I pay him a whole 25 cents and he gets his voice like out there. All right. Maple Leafs forever. Leafs talk. Maple Leafs, Edmonton Oilers tonight. And I got to give it to Billy. He sends me his pregame picks. He's like 7-2 in the last 9 games. All right. He sends me his pregame picks. I had to turn my phone sideways, but I think he had it 7-2, 7-3, and the game was 7-4. So, Billy, we're going to pass it on to you. Marty's at the Scotiabank Arena partying with March Marner there. He couldn't wear a better shirt, eh, Marty? All right, Billy, what did you think of this 7-4 victory for the Maple Leafs?
First of all, nice to see you guys. Nice to be back. Shout out to those of you that watch the Fired Up Network. The prevailing thought coming out of this game for me is both teams are in the same spot. They got to ask themselves, how in the blue hell did we put two of the better rosters together in this league? You know, when you look at that ice, man, and you're talking about 10, 11, the best players in the world, how did we both end up with these goalies, and how are we going to win 16 games through the playoffs with a combination of Samsonov, Murray, Skinner, and Campbell? Like both clubs have left themselves obviously susceptible, and if neither of them reaches either a conference final or a Stanley Cup, you'll know the reason why.
All right, Marty, let's go to you. It's billed as, Connor versus Austin Matthews, but it should have been billed as Connor versus Mitch Marner. All right, Connor, another goal, a couple assists. Mitch Marner, what did he do? 4 or 5 assists there. What did you think? Look at him in the background. Mitch Marner outplayed Connor. What do you say?
Well, first I'll go with what Billy said. He's absolutely right. Like, these two teams put together some pretty good roster, and their goaltending just isn't there. Murray tonight, a couple shaky goals. Skinner, I was actually surprised they didn't start Campbell. I thought they would have started Campbell coming into Toronto, give him the start. But you know what? Who really impressed me? Yes, Marner did well. Tavares did well. Achari, whatever you want to call. This guy is proving he might have been the guy that was the steal in that deal with O'Reilly, getting him in there because he plays on the penalty kill. He just shuts things down out there. Has like 5 or 6 hits today, 7 shots, 2 goals. I really am impressed with how this kid has played since he's come with the Leafs since the trade. So, kudos to that kid. And Marner, we've talked about this before.
Marty. Hold on.
Yes.
Let me get a word in too here, man. It's been a long time. First of all, kudos to you for spotting that out. And here's the biggest piece. Obviously the goals are nice, but here's what I enjoyed. I was thinking the same thing. Here's what I enjoyed. Game at 5-3. This guy takes it to the net with reckless abandon, with no regard for his health, no regard for his safety, and just trying to give everything he's got and that's playoff hockey right there. That's what we've been missing. That's what we've been looking for. And again, you're right on the money with Achari in terms of an under the radar guy that can be the difference in in a 6th, 7th game, right? When everybody's locking down the other team's best players, he's the kind of guy, a la Nick Paul from last year, that can be a difference maker.
And I gotta say this. The game for me turned around when Kane went after Jake McCabe, and he stood his ground. And McCabe, really, we didn't have this for 2-3 years. A guy, physical defense. It doesn't matter if he wins the fight, loses the fight, a scrub, but they didn't back down from intimidation. The intimidation for the last couple years. Billy, I don't have to tell you, a couple years ago when they're playing Montreal, Austin Matthews is grabbed behind the shirt and he starts laughing. Laughing. And now Jake McCabe, they try, Kane trying to intimidate him, and boom, and Connor McDavid went after all this, and they were pushing back on Connor McDavid there.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, Joe, obviously there's been a marked improvement in terms of the way the Leafs have addressed the back end of their roster. But again, it still leaves something to be desired. Let's make no mistake. This is not the early 90s Todd Gill, Rose, clear the net kind of defense. That's why the addition of Shen will be valuable for especially come playoff times. Because for me, you still see a lot of Edmonton guys take a lot of liberties in front of the net, a lot of liberties. And the thing with a liberty is you can take it, no problem. Like Marty Roberts, he takes it like a champ. You can take it, right? But if you're gonna take a liberty, you got to end up like with your face on the ice. Really, it's that simple. That's what hockey is. You want to take a liberty and poke the goalie and try to battle for a loose puck either today or 2 months from now, fine. No problem.
Hold on, Billy.
But you got to end up on the ice, Double J. You got to end up on the ice, and that's something, again, the Leafs are missing.
We have a special guest who has requested to be on with you. All right, Billy. This guy knows how to muck it up in the corner. This guy is Marty. You better come with a better shirt. All right. This guy can do in the corners. This is what the Maple Leafs guy miss. Here it is, Billy. Say hi to my new enforcer,
Billy.
Holy jeez! Look at this piece of work sliding in here at a late hour. Gil, what's shaking, Gil?
What's shaking, my man?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Good, man. Good.
Nice to see you. You too.
All right.
So give me your thoughts. We're talking about the Maple Leafs over the Edmonton Oilers. Give me your thoughts. And here's a guy who bows in the corner. Marty and Billy, but I'm going to go for Marty, right? When Marty's in front of the net, do you just give him shots and cross-check him and everything like that? How do you handle Marty Roberts in front of the net, Gil?
First, you have to catch me.
You can say that again. Because, you can see Marty can skate around anything.
Marty can skate? Billy, did you know that he can skate? Wow.
Here's what you gotta. I don't give a rat's ass if your name's Marty Roberts. Well, I'm not gonna say anything derogatory to Gil because those big arms might wrap around me if he catches me at Wadlow. But a guy like Roberts, like a prima donna pretty boy, if he wants to, hold on, don't interrupt me, Roberts. If he wants to come in front of the net, if he wants to get in those high scoring areas, high danger areas, he's got to be able to take a little bit of a stick maybe to the face. Marty, don't come into that area because big Luke Shen is looking for you, buddy, and that's what the Leafs need. Obviously, on a serious note, if you're going to play playoff hockey, you need to protect that front of your net and you need to make people pay a price. Otherwise, if you don't pay a price, right? What stops the other guy from going there with reckless abandon? What stops the guy from poking your goaltender, for giving him a wash if he's not going to get at least a face wash, Marty Roberts? So again, man, I'm just leave it up to you. You're the hockey guy, Marty. What do I know, man? Other than pretty much everything. Your thoughts? Can the Leafs with these 7 guys play the defensive style to make up for what is shaky goaltending and ultimately win 16 games come playoff time?
You know what? That's a very good question, Billy, and I'm surprised that came from you. I really am, because not too often you get these good questions for Bill. And by the way, just so you see my side view, that nose is taking a shot or two in the game of hockey. So don't say I don't take the stick to the face ever. Don't ever say that. Anyways, you know what? You're right. Do they have the guys back there? I said it before when they made these trades that the defense with McCabe, Shen will be able to move guys out of front of the net and hopefully give guys Murray and Samsonov that opportunity to see the puck coming in. They've done it the last few games, and these goalies still are allowing a few weak goals in here or there. Yeah. So I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if either one of these teams, Edmonton or the Leafs,
hold on, Marty.
What it takes.
Marty, but what we can say is there much improved in terms of the back end in comparison to prior to the deadline. We agree there. Now, are they good enough? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah,
but they're better.
Everything is. Yeah. Everything, defensive forwards that they brought in, the defenseman herself that they brought in, they've done everything. It's just this goaltending is a sticky spot for the Leafs, and we'll see if they can do anything with it. My question is, yes, Matthews had a goal tonight, but he just doesn't look right. Yeah. He's not getting the shot off as quick as he was last year. Is he looking to pass now and try to be more of a complete player, or is it something that's wrong with him?
No.
I don't know.
I'll jump in on this one, and we'll get Gil in here with his take. But here's what I see. I gotta believe, because if you take a look at the Leaf roster, it would be almost impossible coming into the year to have Matthews as the second, third. At this point in time, the whole Leaf hierarchy has changed. Matthews is no longer at the top of the pendulum. It's Marner. Even William Nylander, in terms of has superseded Matthews. So the question you got to ask yourself: number one, is he hurt? My money would say that he's not 100%. He's hurt. But number two, this is the first time, Gil, that we can imagine a Leaf team moving forward without Austin Matthews and still have hope that you can bring some pieces in.
Agreed. And if we're talking about goaltending, year after year after year after year, I mean, if you don't have solid goaltending, you don't have a chance. Let's go back to when Patrick Roy was just a kid and he was he would steal game after game. That game that he had against the Rangers when he was just a baby, and he stoned them. They took 40 shots. And he just stood on his head. And then that magnificent series against the Calgary Flames. But we can go back, with Ken Dryden, we can go back, Grant Fuhr. You do not have, even though we had, the star-studded team with Grant Fuhr with Messier and Gretzky and Glenn Anderson. I mean, they were loaded. But you know what? It's goaltending.
Yeah,
and that's going to be an issue because you have guys that now we're playing a very physical style of hockey, and you have guys in front of the net. And if you can't see the puck, if you're seeing the puck and it's going in and very shaky goals, what's going to happen in the playoffs when you're getting into that that banging hockey and you have guys in front of the net and you can't see the puck? It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, Gil. Let me ask you something, Gil. Have you recovered? Have you recovered to the point where you're okay now from Pierre Engvall leaving the Leafs? And what have you done with your Engvall jersey?
He's saying who?
How about you, Marty? What have you done with your Pierre Engvall jersey?
It's under the dog cage. That's where it
All
is.
right. So
how many? Hold on now. How many? Like, take a guess. Like Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. How many Engvall jerseys do you think got sold in the last year? Would you say over under 50?
How many family members do you think he has? That could be how many jerseys he sold.
Imagine you're an NHL guy and you sell under 50 jerseys, man. That's Pierre Engvall, man. God bless you.
Forget about Pierre Engvall. Let's get to the Maple Leafs here, okay? You guys bring up solid points with the goalie. Dubas knew that going into the trade deadline, going into the season. He did everything but address the goalie situation.
Hold on. You're wrong. Kyle Dubas, for all the flack he takes, right? He's also the same guy that told Campbell bye-bye, and Campbell's stuck in Edmonton 5-25. So if you're talking about Dubas, would you rather have him sign Campbell? You'd be in an even worse situation than you are now.
What I'm saying is he did everything getting the trades. He traded the whole team, 25% of the team. But the one upgrade he needed the most when you go into the playoffs, it's goalie. He did with all the defense he could have done. Who
was available? Hold on, Joe. So would you rather have Quick from Los Angeles in net at 37 because he was the only goalie apparently available? He's the only goalie that moved. So that's the only guy in reality that you could have went out and got for a song and dance. So would you rather have him in net than the combination they have now?
Well, first, before I answer that, I'll ask Marty and I'll ask Gil. Marty, would you have Quick?
You know what? If it was 10 years ago, yeah, I'd have Quick. But to have him
be an upgrade over Samsonov.
He wouldn't. No, he wouldn't be. If he was an upgrade over those two, then the Kings would have kept him in their net. So I don't think Quick would have been that upgrade. And like Billy said, what was out there anyways this year for free agent signings for goaltenders and for trades? There was no one. Like, yes, everyone would have liked to go to Nashville and get their goalie. They would have liked to go to Vancouver. Those guys weren't trading their goalies. So he had to look a different way. He did it. We got to hope now that this goaltending
Gets hot.
is at least good enough to get them into the second round.
All right, Gil, what do you say?
I think that Marty makes a valid point. I mean, it's not like, okay, you think that these GMs, I mean, they're not hired because they're idiots. So the bottom line is that, they got the best available talent that's out there. We can only hope that he just gets hot. You know what I mean? We can only hope that, somehow, he gets hot and he plays up, over and above his level. And, he just stands on his head or something, but right now, from what I'm seeing, I don't, it doesn't look overly promising, as far as, pushing, the goaltending, that steady goaltending that they need. I'm not seeing that right at this point.
All right, so I'm going to ask Billy this because on Fired Up Live, Marty was on here with Gil, and I sort of broke a story. A friend of mine who's an agent told me that no matter what, Austin Matthews have gone to Dubas and said, I want, and he gave a certain date. You have to sign me by this date. It's in August, or else he's gone, and he's gone from the Maple Leafs. So, and Marty speculated, and he's right. Austin Matthews wants $14 to $15 million a year, somewhat like I pay you, Billy. So what do you think? What do you think of that? Do you let Austin Matthews, if they don't sign him by August, do you trade him? Do you let him walk? What do you do?
For me to make that decision, I'm not making it on March 10th, 12th, wherever we are today. That decision is going to be made after I see the man play the last 15, 16 games and take me through a playoff run. Then I can make a decision when I find out in my mind exactly who he is. And again, those guys know behind the scenes whether he's playing injured or what have you. So I don't make that decision until this story is written come May and June when the playoffs are on. But here's what I would say in terms of the Leaf goaltending for Leaf fans that might try to find a glimmer of hope in the goaltending situation. Matt Murray is a Stanley Cup champion, even though it was a lifetime ago. Maybe you can hold on to that experience and the fact he's done it before as a way to reassure Leaf fans that are anxiety ridden, much like Marty Roberts there with the Toronto Don Jill yellow T-shirt from his time back in the late '80s, man, when he was like not the guy he is today. Welcome back, Marty Roberts.
All right. So anything, Marty, you want to touch on your Pittsburgh Penguins today? And let's go NHL, and then we'll get because we have some questions about baseball here, and Billy wants to wear the shirt that the pitcher from what is it, Venezuela is wearing. Okay, 5 shirts buttoned down. He was talking about that off the air. Gil, he wants to have a body like you. So go ahead, Marty. Anything that you want to touch on with your Pittsburgh Penguins or NHL today?
Well, the Penguins came out. DeSmith made a big save to keep them ahead 2-1. Then they ended up opening it up late in the game. They won 5-1, exactly what they need to do to stay ahead of the Islanders and anyone else behind them. So they did what they had to do today, the Penguins, and we'll see if they can stay above Islanders, Florida, all the rest of those teams going into the wild card spot.
Yeah, here's another piece, Joe. Here's another piece that's interesting. If you take a look at what's going around or what's going on around the league, you'll see that every single day, Stamkos apparently went down in the third period. Every day, Tampa Bay's stock is diminishing. Like, as the days go by, the Leafs become more and more prohibitive favorites over that Tampa Bay team. And you've seen in the last couple of weeks or so, even Boston, a little bit, they're starting to slow down. I know slow down. They're 50-9, but you see them down 2 against Detroit. You see them lose a game with them. So even Boston's showing us some cracks, and Tampa Bay's coming in here, and especially if Stamkos is out for a long time, Tampa Bay's going to come into Toronto to open game 1 as prohibitive underdogs. And if the Leafs don't beat Tampa Bay this year, you might as well at this point in time just fold the franchise, Gil. Just blow it up, man. If you can't win this year, man, when? You just gotta make it happen on the ice.
Well, you know what? I tell you something. Tonight you saw something. We talked about that yesterday, and I touched on Mitch Marner's IQ, and you saw it tonight. He's like a quarterback on the ice. He's like a point guard, and the way he dishes, the way he sees, You know something? If he can play like this consistently throughout the playoffs, he gives the offense that spark, and other offenses you can't. It's very, very difficult to play against a player like that has that kind of IQ and sees everything before you do. But the thing about it, then he has these games where, but you see what kind of player this guy is, and if the coaches, they challenge this guy to be the man and not play behind Austin Matthews, but be the man and be the spark plug. Because you saw the passes, the way he was passing, the way he was the ice. I'm telling you, if he goes into the playoffs and he turns that switch on, and then he says, "Okay, I'm pushing this team through." I'm going to tell you something, man. The Leafs are going to be a different team.
So you're telling me, Gil, that in your estimation that Mitch Marner has become the alpha on this Maple Leaf team and surpassed Matthews?
He can be if he consistently plays the way he can with his vision, and his IQ. He can be the X factor, because think about, he does things even away from the puck. He buys time. He draws defenders over. It's his vision. Okay, and that will buy more ice for Austin Matthews.
All right, Billy. Anything in NHL that you want to touch on?
Again, I think we've covered pretty much what it is that we needed to address. Leafs got a shot. What else you want to talk about, Marty? Any given day,
all right,
anybody
hold on, Billy.
Hold on. You know how it goes.
Again, the Maple Leafs beating Edmonton 7-4 tonight. You could watch Billy's show Monday, 7 p.m. with a guy who puts you to sleep half the time, Norm Rumack. Who's the special guest this week?
We're trying to
Gil like that. Gil, has Norm Rumack put you to sleep lately?
I'm not going to really comment on that. But
all right. So
hold on. When you're talking about,
go ahead.
Hold on. Give me a word in. Let me get a word in here. When you're talking about Mr., and that's not story, it's Mr. Rumack to you, Double J, esteemed. Hold on. The esteemed veteran, the borderline Hall of Famer. Even though he's lost a step or 9, it doesn't really matter, because just his name alone, man, makes people talk, makes people walk. They gather to their TV sets, and then they say, you know what they say? What the hell happened to this guy?
That's right. All right. So what do we have on?
To your point, he's still the Storm.
That's Norm Rumack, man. That's Norm Rumack, and no matter what you say, neither of us, any of us four on this box, will never be, in terms of what Norm Rumack was to the sporting industry. We'll never be able to wash his shoes, even though that guy's got one foot in the grave. Let's be honest. None of us doing this. We do this for fun. Norm Rumack was the biggest thing since sliced bread in Toronto in 1989, man, and you can't take that away from him. Double J.
1989, no, you couldn't. But in 2000, I carried him, and now in 2023, you're carrying him. And 2033, Miller Shoes is going to carry him, and then Marty Roberts is just going to drive on the TTC there. All right, but who do you have on Monday? I built this anticipation. Who do you have on Monday?
Special guest. We're gonna be touching base with our roots, and that's the harness industry. So stay tuned. Monday at 7 p.m. Big stuff going on, and as always, I'm there. Post a classic as provided by a dear friend of the show. So we'll be doing it again Monday at 7 p.m. with Rumack. Follow me on Facebook Live, and while you do so, again, you can be privy to the sporting information I deliver. You know, I'm not really a sportscaster, but I could be your financial advisor, Marty Roberts. You follow me in my sports picks, it'll be a good return on investment. But we'll leave that for another conversation and another time.
I have a financial advisor, Alan Small, here. But also, Billy, you don't know this. Gil, go ahead, tell Billy what's your show about here on the Fired Up Network, and tell Billy to watch, because Billy, between 7:15 and 7:45, when the other guy gets only one question in, right? He falls asleep. So during that time, tell him what to watch. Look at that. Look at the guns on Billy, not like the milk jugs on Marty. Go ahead, go ahead.
Well, first of all, look, did you see him flex? We've been secretly working out, huh?
Yeah, secretly.
On cheeseburgers.
He's been on the plan, secretly. So I think that me and Billy gonna stay on the down low. But Billy, I want to ask you. You hear about the $1 billion we call it facility they're building with a racetrack and the casino?
Yeah.
And that's at Woodbine?
Yeah.
Across the street.
How about that? Eh?
So absolutely exciting time for the entire industry. And again, it's a place in the world that usually has a niche market, right? And hopefully the introduction to thoroughbreds in that game can be done on a different level and hopefully attract more people. And then you guys can end up like me, 49 years old and broke.
All right, we won't touch that. But I thought you're making millions with your bets.
Listen, I told you, when you're a degenerate gambler like me, it doesn't matter what I know. It doesn't matter. Like, no matter what, when you got the genes that I got, you're going to go broke one way or another, right? But if you followed my information and had a little bit of discipline over the years, guaranteed you're making 3, 4, 5 times your money, man. And that's not hyperbole. Those are the facts, right? 67% betting football, 67 to 70% betting everything else. But the only way that a guy like me can win is if I go 100%, and ain't nobody in God's green earth that can do that.
We have
wait a second. I put your picks in. I would call it on NFL Sunday. I went 6%. What are you talking about?
Against the spread.
6%.
65%, Gil. 6% was Marty's grade point, was his average in school in math class.
All right. So we have a question from your fellow Greek, Anthony K. here, who wants to ask Billy. I don't know how to say it in Greek, so I'm going to say it in English. He wants to ask Billy, what are your thoughts from the Chicago? His team is the Chicago Bears, trading the first overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. And of course, they got other players for it. But go ahead, Billy. What are your thoughts?
Obviously, when you're at the top of the draft class, right? The first thing you look about, there's 3 quarterbacks going 1, 2, and 3. So the first question you ask yourself, if you're Chicago Bear GM or personnel, is Fields our starting quarterback? Yes or no? Can we get anything for Fields? Yes or no? So you answer those 2 questions. If Fields is your guy, obviously you're looking to trade that pick. Now, was Carolina the best offer that you can get? And here's the important thing why I think it might work, because you get Carolina's first pick this year, and you might get the first overall pick next year from Carolina, man, because Carolina's in rebuilding mode. They're going to have a young quarterback, and Carolina's got a 22% chance to finish last in the league next year. They got a 22% chance to end up 2-15 next year. So the Bears will inherit Carolina's first-round pick. And if that happens, then it's a good trade. Too early to tell. All depends on where Carolina finishes this year.
And they need offensive line help.
They need everything. They need everything, Gil, over there. That whole team, they give away DJ Moore. The receiving core is thin. McCaffrey obviously traded last year. You got pretty much nothing in Carolina except a lot of pain coming.
But like you said, if you're gonna have a young quarterback and he's running for his life, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
All right, so that was, it looks like they traded the first overall pick to Carolina there and all that. And by the way, a side note, I don't know if you know this, Marty. I like the Buffalo Bills. Edmonds and Porter are gone from the Buffalo Bills. Book it, bank it, whatever. I have inside information. Edmonds, a great player for the Buffalo Bills, and Porter was even better. They're gone from the Buffalo Bills. I know Marty is disappointed because Edmonds may end up in Washington.
One year, your Buffalo Bills might win the Super Bowl.
Might win.
Just one might win. Who's going to win the Super Bowl first? Buffalo or the Leafs win the Stanley Cup? What's going to happen first?
The Bills win the Super Bowl or the Leafs win the Stanley Cup?
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what happens first, all right? I'll tell you what happens first. Norm Rumack comes around and bounces again and starts having a good show. That's what I know. That's what I could bank on there, all right? Buffalo,
you know what
Leafs,
is you'll be fizzling and dizzling with Mr. P. Fizzle if the Bills win.
I don't know who that guy was. I had to bar. It's a friend of
You should
yours.
have let him go. You should have let him go.
First of all, hold on. First of all, if you heard Poyer with some of his comments, obviously didn't endear himself much to the Bills Mafia in Western New York. A lot of comments about the weather, about other kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, boys, that as a professional athlete, if you had to pick a destination where you wanted to be employed, like even for us, if we wanted to be employed, right? Buffalo, you're talking about Buffalo, Western New York, Cheektowaga, Lockout. You're talking about Buffalo, and the only thing that I can compare to Buffalo is slightly better in terms of a market and a place to live than Winnipeg. Slightly better, man. You're talking about they used to call Buffalo the armpit of America, and it still is. It's the worst. Nothing happening in town. There's 5 streets downtown, blizzards of 10 feet. Where would you rather play, man? In Orchard Park or go play in Miami, man, and chill on the beach, man, and make your money? Come on. Smarten up, Double J.
What's the deal you have with Winnipeg? Why are you so sour on Winnipeg?
Who wouldn't be sad? I'm just telling the truth, man. Don't shoot the messenger. In terms of like travel destinations, the Winnipeg tourism, there's probably been less than a dozen people that have been to Winnipeg in their lives on vacation, man. Can you imagine telling the missus, "Hey, sweetie, come on, pack up your shit. We're gonna go to Winnipeg to spend a romantic weekend." She'll give you a slap and she'll send you out of the house.
So, would you rather be in Australia then?
Then Joe, you ask questions where you know you want me to talk about the Gooch Carry Goulet, but I'm not going to do it.
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know.
Look, man, when you live in Scarborough, Ontario, you'd rather be anywhere in the world except Western New York and Manitoba.
All right. Enough of that. All right. Enough of that. Marty, you'll start us off. Are you watching the World Baseball Classic? USA was down when me and Billy were talking off air. Now they're coming up. Are you watching the World Baseball Classic? Are you up for it? And like Billy said, why didn't you make the Great Britain pitching team? I want to know that.
First of all, I'm not from Great Britain. That's why I never made it.
Like they got some people like Danny Valencia.
They have roots to go back there.
Danny Valencia, former Blue Jay, is playing for Israel. Valencia, Israel.
Well, he obviously has a family member somewhere in the genes that's from Israel.
A champion for AEW.
You know what? Marty would still get a squad if Newfoundland sent a baseball team.
But I think Greece is there, are they not? Why are you not there, Billy?
You know what? If we turned back the clock 20 years ago, man, I'd have been right there, man, right in the dugout, man. But yeah,
what a malak this guy is. Marty, I'm asking you a question about Great Britain. Why you bring Greece in? You're a malak. Come on.
Hey, good friend of mine was the coach two times ago for WBC for Great Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Daryl Reed. Daryl Reed was coach there with Sam Dempster for Great Britain 2 WBC ago.
All right.
So you're telling me, Reader.
I got a hook in there.
So you're telling me, Reader, who now coaches Durham College, coached the Great Britain professional baseball team.
Yes.
So in other words, this guy's just glutton for punishment. Does he ever win?
He would if he went to East York. He might win a few games, right?
You better believe it. Open invitation to Mr. Reed. I'm a big fan of yours. If you want to come jump on board East York, we got a spot. We got the first base box wide open. You're more than welcome to join the ride over at Stan Wadlow Park.
Here, like you're saying, Joe, U.S. up 5-1 now in Great Britain. I was watching the Venezuela-Dominican game. Yeah. Venezuela wins it 5-1. Dominican loses their next game. They're in trouble. Top 2 teams are only getting out of that division. So Dominican better smarten up a little bit to lose the Now, Venezuela had a very good team. They do have a good team. But to lose 5-1 in your opening game when you had your main guy, Alcantara, on the mound and you lost 5-1, there's going to be some heavy thinking going into their next game. That is for sure.
And Billy, we were talking before we went on the air. The game of the day, from what I saw, Colombia, Mexico. They're really, really good game.
Yeah.
Billy, I'll go to you and then go to Martin Gill. Go ahead. What do you think of that game?
what I love to see, and again, unfortunately, given the way this conflicts with spring training, and again taking a lot away for what potentially can be in a perfect world, this could be an unbelievable tournament. Again, if it was situated differently in terms of the time it took place, the fact it's taking place at spring training's taken a lot away from it. But you gotta love, man, like you watch sports, man. Like either up close or over through the tube, you gotta love when you see passion, country, enthusiasm, guys going after it, man. That's what makes your hair stand up as a sports fan, and we see that in the WBC, and unfortunately, we see it more with the Japanese fans, Venezuelan, South America, than we do with our side. Here's the question I wanted to ask, and I want to get Marty's take. A big day for Ontario baseball, Marty. The Newmarket kid getting the start against the USA. Your reaction, first of all, on the kid. You've seen him pitch, Brett. You've seen him pitch before. What's it going to be like for a kid like him facing this USA lineup?
Well, I think he's only 19, maybe 20 years old now. He's gonna be a really good one. It's going to be tough to face that squad. Like he faced the Cubs a few days ago, pitched all right there. He's going to be an awfully good pitcher. He'll be in the big leagues one day. But to face that lineup come Monday with all those guys in there, it might be a little bit of nerves creeping in that first inning. But he might be able to hold his own. He's a pretty damn good pitcher. I've seen him throw a couple times, and they didn't give him all that money in Texas for nothing. They have that feeling. And now with Canada being that opening day starter for them, it wouldn't surprise if he goes up and throws a couple inning goose eggs up there against the States.
Where does he sit in terms of his stuff? Velocity, location, where is he?
I think he's 92, 93 fastball wise. Good control. He's going to be a good one. Like I said, he's just young. Like he's just out of A-ball. That's all he is. He's A-ball. He's going to be facing guys that are MVPs in Major League Baseball. So it's going to be tough, but like I said before, as much as I think Canada doesn't have a shot in this, these young guys could come in and just say, hey, we deserve to be here.
Marty, I want to ask you a question. I think I asked you before, but when you were pitching, what did you top at? 90, 89, 90, 91?
90.
Yeah, 90 is the highest I topped out. 80, 86, 87 is where I sat.
That's what he's saying.
90. 90. You know what they had? Hold on. This guy's trying to tell you 90. You know what they had back then? Instead of speed guns, they had like those guns that you use like traffic cops use to measure 90. This guy couldn't break a plane of glass, man. He'd be lucky to top out at 84, 85, man. And that's the truth. Sorry to burst your bubble, kid.
Well, your radar gun in the penal system wasn't the exact same as in
Hold on.
I got used to.
Hold on. You want to hear the truth? I'm going to give the truth as usual. No shame here. Yours truly, the Greek. Pay attention, Gil. This is important stuff. I walked in with my Timberlands, man. Hat sideways. At the age of 18, I was just grooming myself to bigger and better things. So at the Eaton Center, they had that little the baseball with a zone. So I took that baseball, cocked it back, man, to wind up, and it was let's just say it was 130 plus kilometers. Broke the record, broke it all at the Eaton Center. So I hold the record for the hardest pitch ever thrown at the little Eaton Center Fair in the fall of 1993, man. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Marty Robert.
At the Eaton Center, it was in kilometers an hour. I do remember that. 139,
buddy. What is that? That's impressive.
When you used to go to the X, remember when you used to go to the X and you used to have, you had to guess your speed and you get the helmet? Did the helmet ever fit your head? I don't think it ever fit your head.
It was a little snug. Let's leave it at that.
Hey, looks like we lost Joseph. His internet connection must have went out or something, but we're allowed to keep talking here.
Yeah, here we go.
It never got better, man. Finally, it took us years to get rid of this guy, man, to really have a good sports show, eh?
So he had to go back. He had to go back to be Mr. P. Vizzle.
What's your call tomorrow? Canada, Britain. What's your call tomorrow? The game tomorrow.
Marty,
I think Canada wins tomorrow. I think Canada wins tomorrow against Great Britain. I really do.
Yeah.
It's that Monday game that's going to be everyone's going to watch that Monday game. As much as, it's going to be a tough go for the Canadians, like playing the States, Canada, no matter what sport it is, it's always a battle between whatever team it is when it's Canada, USA. So I'm looking forward to that. I think tomorrow they win in that Great Britain game. They got Freeman, they got O'Neill, they got a bunch of guys there that have MLB experience. So I think they win tomorrow's game against Great Britain.
And there's a nice storyline, with the 40-year-old pitcher that's coming back from Tommy John surgery.
Axford.
Yeah, that's a nice little storyline there too going on. And I think that he might be a stabilizing force for a lot of the younger, players. We call it, that are coming up and they're playing actually in the tournament.
Axford's been around for a long time.
Exactly,
a very long time.
I think that'll be very helpful.
20 years, as a matter of fact. He debuted 20 years ago, almost to the day. So again, you have a guy like that, and like imagine you're a kid like Brad that's Axford was pitching when you weren't even born, right? So obviously guys like that get an impact. You like them around, but at the end of the day, can you throw a baseball? What I've seen, my biggest takeaway from the WBC is the fact that the world's best pitchers, except if you look at that guy Japan throwing 102 with splitters and striking out 9 guys in 3 innings, the best pitchers in the world are not at this tournament, right? And that's the one thing that's taking away from the quality of the baseball. All the number one guys, like look at the USA roster. Okay, well, Adam Wainwright, he's not chopped liver, but Adam Wainwright would probably be the 40th or 45th best pitcher in Major League Baseball, if that, right? And he's the ace of the USA staff. So again, until they find a way to get the best pitchers and the best players, and if they ever do, this would be one hell of a tournament, man. One hell of a tournament, right? It's a teaser right now. It's just a teaser with some guys in, some guys out. We want to see best on best on best, right? And you know what? You'll probably never see it in your life unless they figure out when you're going to do this.
You're right.
The argument is you want to do it, Marty, after 162 games? That's asking a lot of the players. You want to take a 2-week All-Star break? That's asking a lot. You can't. We've seen it doesn't work in spring training. So when does Marty Roberts, because he's a little smarter than the average Bear, when does Marty Roberts want to have this tournament for maximum value and in terms of the quality of the ball?
I always wanted it in October. That's when I want it to start. Right after the World Series, you go into it. But I also see it could work if you push the start of the season off 2 weeks. So the start of April, you do the WBC, then you start your Major League season. That might entice a lot of these other players to come out. But again, a lot of these guys don't want to get injured going into their season. So that's why I always thought at the end of October, when the World Series is done, then they go and do it. There's no worry about, hey, I'm going to get injured before my season. My commitment is to my team that's paying me, obviously. I think October is the best time for this, but you might be able to get me going at the start of April as well.
And you're right. In October, at least if you do get injured, you have some time to rehab.
Yeah, and I guess again, the Big Devils, I guess you're asking guys in October, guys that have pitched 160, 180 innings to no matter when it happens. Obviously, cash is king, and major league teams are gonna treat these guys as their properties and their investments. And no matter how you stage it, when you stage it, unless there's a monetary and there's something monetary to make that sacrifice and put your players at the risk of injury, nothing will change. This is the WBC and how it always looked moving forward.
All right, next week, Billy, here is Gambling Anonymous here. Next week starts March Madness. All right. I know Billy's going to have his brackets there. Marty's going to have his brackets. Gil, when he sees the March Madness, he gets on the court, beats up everybody. He wins the tickets and everything like that. I'm going to try to get Drew Ebanks on there, Captain Canada, find out if he really is Captain Canada, and put some shekels in Marty and Billy's pockets. But let's start off with Billy. I know what you're going to say. I already know what you're going to say. Give me a dark horse. I'm not going to say the favorite. Give me a dark horse for you.
I like honestly, if I had to look for a real dark horse, I would take a flyer on Patrick Ewing and the Georgetown Hoyas.
And Patrick Ewing is gone. He's gone.
What?
He's gone.
What?
Yeah, he's gone.
No.
Yeah, he's gone. All right. So let's get to the NBA here. Billy, you want to start us off? Raptors again, complaining about the referees, losing to the Clippers, losing to the Lakers, now coming back and playing Tuesday here at Scotiabank Arena against Denver, the Denver Nuggets. Go ahead.
Hold
Marty.
on, Marty knows. Marty can speak on this because we've sat on the same bench together and we've coached. He knows I'm not belligerent when it comes to umpires, and you have my moments, but I'm not really belligerent. But if you watch Foster and the way he called that game a few 3-4 nights ago, and the technical foul on Scotty Barnes, you got to ask yourself, man, is this guy on the take? Does this guy have a little bit of cash on the side? It's like when you have a guy like that that's calling that kind of game, and again, don't laugh and joke because there's been an NBA guy who back a couple of decades ago that was on the take. It's very easy for a guy with a whistle to control the outcome of the game, and that Foster guy for me, there's got to be reprimanded. You just can't decide who wins and loses a game and call technicals because you got sensitive when a guy said something to you in the heat of the battle. Come on, man.
$30,000 fine to Fred VanVleet for that, all right? And he said he's going to take the fine, but $30,000, come on. And all right, do you think even if the Raptors make the play-in, Billy, I'll start off with you, even if the Raptors make the play-in, do you think they can do anything in the playoffs?
There's a 3% chance that they can do anything, for maybe as high as 5%. I don't know. If Fred VanVleet shoots out of his mind, if you get a little bench contribution, obviously you watch the Raptors play. They play toe-to-toe with Denver, toe-to-toe with the Clippers. Even the Lakers, they play toe-to-toe with everybody. But here's the problem. They only got 6 guys that play basketball. Their bench is invisible. Every time their bench gets subbed in, the game switches, as you saw against LA, as you saw against Denver. So no matter what, they're not deep enough. Can your 6 guys play 44 minutes a game in a playoffs? I don't know.
No. Marty, you want to chime on here?
I haven't watched very much basketball all year. I just don't find there's much flow. So I don't know. Going back to the referees, Billy's right. Like in the NBA, it seems anytime someone says something to a referee, they tech them up. You look at the NFL, I don't really see the NFL ever throwing a flag on a guy commenting to a referee. Yes, the referees are very not as good as well in the NFL, but they do take a lot of punishment, never throw a flag, never give anything. But the NBA guys, as soon as you say something to them, it's a technical. Instead of just walking away and leaving it. To me, it didn't look like Scotty Barnes did much of anything, didn't say anything very loud for anyone to hear it. And then he tossed him out of the game at a crucial point in that game. One of your best players is gone. And I think they were only down about 2 or 3 points at that time. So, yeah, NBA referees are a bit iffy at times. As for the Raptors making it to I don't think they make the play-in. So, simple as that. I don't think they make the play-ins.
All right, Gil, what do you have to say about the NBA and the future of basketball, put it that way?
Oh, NBA is one of the best marketed, sports in the world. They're gonna be just fine, sort of thing. But as far as refereeing, listen, just you go out, you play hard. You're gonna get calls. You're going to get calls against you. You're going to get calls that are going to be for you. There's heightened passions and emotions, in a game. But at the end of the game, you just have to play. Fred VanVleet, he's upset about something, and perhaps it's justified. But you gotta move on, and you gotta have a short minimum. You gotta play, and he's got to lead, sort of thing. And like I said before, I don't fault him for what he's saying, and and the referee, he's got a job to do. But moving forward, you got to lead. You got to lead your team, sort of thing. And you can't let that be in a distraction in any way, shape, or form. Have a conversation with the referee, before a game or after the game, straighten it out so basically you don't have referees targeting your team, because these things can happen. They're human beings, sort of thing. But once again, this is not a slight against his stance. I believe to a certain degree it is warranted, and everything that Marty has just said, it is warranted. But at the end of the day, sort of thing, you got to go out and play. Getting paid an enormous amount of money. There's just fans that have paid a lot of money to come and see you play, and that's what you got to do. But at the same time, you can't let it be a distraction. You gotta go out there and you gotta play. And especially if you are a leader, you can't let that be a distraction whatsoever, sort of thing. And especially at this time of the year where you're on the cusp of going into the playoffs, they got a young team. They have a very young team. They're still rebuilding. You have Scotty Barnes, who, he's still a very young player with a tremendous amount of potential. For the rest of the guys, they're still very young, and Nick Nurse is working with a young team. So as far as their playoff run, I don't think it's going to be this year. And then, they also need maybe another leader or two that's battle torn, because that's a big part of it. When you go into the playoffs, it's a different game. The speed of the game speeds up, sort of thing. You're not playing, it's regular season basketball, sort of thing. So there's many factors that go into it. So for this year, I'm not seeing a playoff run this year. But in the next, maybe in a couple of years, getting the right pieces, the Raptors are going to be okay. But not. I don't think they're going. This particular will be the year that they're going to win, bring home an NBA championship or anything.
All right, Billy, we have a question from fellow Fired Up Network employee, former boxer Matt Dion. He wants your take of the Oscars tomorrow. Who's going to take home the Oscar tomorrow? Give me your big Oscar take-homer.
Hold on, Double J. The question. Let me ask Dion this. I'll answer the Oscar. Is it suitable? I want to know. Like, I think my dog is not okay, and I'm going to tell you why. He likes to drink a big bowls. There he is, right there. Look at him. Is it safe for a dog to drink a big bowl of Coke Classic every day? Look at him.
Listen, I used to do that four times a day, and nothing.
Marty, is that okay for a dog?
Well, better that than alcohol, no?
Hey.
All right, answer the question from Matt Dion. Go ahead, Billy.
Hey, if you want to ask that question, tune in in a half an hour when we do the Oscar show. This is sports, pal. Don't, Dion, you're a big boy. I know what you're doing. Don't waste the Greek's time with silly questions, please, man. Keep it to sports.
All right. And by the way, Billy, I don't know if you know this. Tomorrow, is it tomorrow, Marty? Tomorrow, I'm going to Scotiabank Arena to watch Journey. All right.
Tomorrow's the Journey concert.
Hold on. Gil wants to, he's making his appearance again on the Fired Up Network. He's here with Billy, and he remembers Billy's suit for Dion's boxing event and all that. But Gil, I hear you want to sing some Journey songs. So go ahead, shock the world, show everybody you got Canadian Got Talent, America Got Talent, Europe Got Talent, Greek Got Talent. Go ahead, show the world that you know how to sing.
Go viral, Gil. Give it everything you got, baby. Go viral, kid.
Come on, Gil. I'm going to call the producer, make a close-up. All right, you ready? Go ahead, Gil.
This is never going to happen.
Billy, come on. Marty tells me you sing with the best of them, right? Come on. Dog couldn't tell you. Come on, give me.
If the day ever comes, and again, man, I've stayed away from the sauce for about 11 years, but I'll tell you this: if the day ever comes and I consume a little bit of alcohol moving forward, and I get a little loose, I'll come on and sing for you, man. But until that day comes, I don't dance, I don't sing, I don't move sober, pal. If you want me to dance and sing and do all that jazz, man, I got to be liquored up, man, and I ain't drinking these days.
And you're not even on TikTok.
All right, Marty, since you're going to be at the Journey concert, I'm not going to tell you to sing, but give me 2 or 3 of your favorite Journey songs as we close it out here on Fired Up Live or Fired Up Network. Go ahead.
You're putting me on the spot here now.
Come on, you're going to the concert, man.
I'm going to the concert.
Marty, hold on. I got a question for you.
Isn't there Ice Ice Baby sang by Journey? No,
that's Vanilla on Ice. By the way, last week you were at the '90s concert featuring Vanilla on Ice, right? What row? Did you have good seats? How much did you pay for those tickets?
Those seats for I Love the 90 tour were $78, I think.
$78. You hear this,
Yep.
Billy? $78 for the I Love 90s tour. Okay, whatever. All right. How much are you paying for the tickets tomorrow at the Scotiabank Arena?
$125.
Now listen to this, Billy. Isn't he overpaid on the Fired Up Network? $78, $125. This guy's making more money than me, you, and Bill combined.
You're talking about when you're talking about a 125 for Marty Roberts. That's basically a one trip from I don't know, say Highway 7 down to about Bloor Street, man. This guy makes more money than the four of us put together. As a matter of fact, if you looked under Marty Roberts' couch, you'd be surprised, man. There's a lot of 20s hanging there, and the only way they come out is if something's in it for him. If either he's entertained, he'll pay a little bit of money, or for a big fat steak. Otherwise, man, you got the cheapest guy in town right here.
And wait a minute, Billy, you don't even know. Marty, where are you going next Saturday?
And 2 Saturdays, I'm going to Pittsburgh to watch the Penguins and the Capitals play.
He's going to Pittsburgh.
Hold on. Are you not going to have any issues at the border, man, with your past?
I told him I don't know you. I've deleted all contact information of you in case they go through my phone, because I've watched security shows and they always pull up. Who'd you last talk to? I'm blocking your name, Billy.
Known associates, eh?
Yeah, I'm not getting in here. For your information, Joe, I'll be looking forward to 3 songs at Journey. Obviously, it's Don't Stop Believing's the first one, right? That'll probably be one of their last songs. Any Way You Want It will be another one that I'll be looking forward to, and the third one will be Separate Ways. Separate Ways.
Marty, what was your wedding song?
My wedding song was Celine Dion.
Which one?
You're gonna put me on the spot. I'm gonna get in trouble here. I don't know the name of it.
Oh,
well, how do you go?
Doghouse. Oh, man.
Give us a verse, man. You were there. What, were you liquored up? You don't remember nothing?
I remember everything about that day.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, man. I tell you what, for a guy like you, man, you're the luckiest guy in the world, man. I'll tell you that. You better know that. And you better come up with that first verse, man, before we get out of here.
Hey, there's actually a couple. We went back between Bryan Adams and Celine Dion.
Nice. Good for you, buds.
All right. So as we close it out here, Gil, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you, and tell everybody what your show, J11 Fitrospective, is all about.
Yeah, you can get a hold of me at J11 Fitrospective. It's all about wellness, holistic wellness, and how you can basically be the best version of yourself and live your best life.
All right, check it out here on the Fired Up Network.
So, Gil, what you're saying is you teach people how to be like the Greek.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah. All right, and how's that working out for you, Greek?
Absolutely terrible, man. I need to go, man, to a full-time seminar at Gil University, man. A full-time.
All right, Billy, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you, and what can they expect Monday on Facebook Live.
Here's what they can expect from me. Unfortunately, man, I got to change my ways. I'm a terrible human being. Here's what they can expect from me. That in about 5 minutes after we get off, I'm going to light another cigarette, take this guy for a walk, and I probably won't scoop. How's that?
All right. Enough with that. That's a vision nobody wanted to see. Put it that way. And by the way, I'll give you 5 minutes, because then we'll do the Oscars pre-show. Oscars pre-show, where I'll invite Billy.
What's the over-under this year on a slap?
Oh, well, I'm slapping Billy in 5 minutes into this, so it doesn't matter. The over-under 5 minutes. All right, go ahead, Marty. Tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. And Marty, I know you missed the world-famous soccer show. Billy was even calling me about it. And we had some issues with Carmen, who was driving in a snowstorm. So that's why we didn't do it.
Carmen seems to always be driving when the shows come on. He knows it's the same time every week, yet he's in the car at the time he's supposed to be on the show. I think we better have a talk with Carmen.
Yeah, well, no, he's the headmaster coach of York University men and ladies soccer. He's got a lot of, and he has requested that you come on to talk about soccer. Marty,
Well, come
and
on, we'll
I
talk
told them,
soccer all day.
I told them, Billy, listen to this. I told
Hey,
Carmen,
hold on. Have you guys ever noticed that Nolan Arenado's a stunt double for Austin Matthews? Those guys look identical, eh? And God, is he the best third baseman man there ever was defensively, man? What a beauty. Anyways, go on.
Marty wants to be on the soccer show. Nobody knows. I used to be Drew Ebanks, but nobody knows better about balls and kicking them than Marty Roberts, right?
Or breaking them. He knows how to break them, too.
I know to break him. And Joseph's lucky he's there because I would have kicked him in his.
I'm not. I got my new security guard here. He'll handle this one. All right.
Unfortunately,
Marty,
he's up here with me in the north.
Go ahead. Tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Lefty22 at Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me there. And here's the song just for you, Joseph. My wedding song.
Billy's dancing towards this. All right.
There you go. That was my wedding song.
Hold on. You know what? I was summoning the courage to deliver 4 verses and you ruined it, man. So be it. You want me to sing, man? I got to get in some kind of rhythm first, man. You just can't. We just can't sing, man. You got to feel it, baby, first. And this guy did this.
Play it again.
Nah, man. Moment's gone, brother. You destroyed that moment too, along with about 1,000 others in my life.
All right. So stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. And don't forget to check out Gil's show, J11 Retrospective, here on the Fired Up Network. And Billy's show, Mondays at 7 on Facebook with Norm Rumack, who sings this song. Play it for Norm Rumack. Go ahead. Oh, I remember that. Celine Dion. Yeah, I remember that. Billy, did you ever go to Las Vegas to watch Celine Dion's show? Yeah, in 1976, I watched it. Don't forget that. All right. You're going to play that song now, Marty, or what?